Hello everybody, this is John from Western Maine Defensive Tactics again with my part of my promised chopping video. Now as you can see, the tree is already down because this is take two. I was in the middle of my first take and my wife came up and said, "Hey, you gotta go get hay," and interrupted me, so we've got to try it again. I've made a few cuts. You can see over here in this little pile of wood. I'm gonna just walk over here, I'm gonna do some limbing, and I'm gonna pull this pine to basically the right of the screen, and then I'm gonna cut it, cross-cut it once each with a few different knives. This is going to be no big challenge because this is a green pine, and then I might make a couple of different videos, or I may ask y'all to hang on while I move this to a different location. I'll probably do a couple of different videos because honestly this pine is green and it's not really that much of a challenge, but it's about 4.5, 5 inches at the butt. Anyway, I'm going to limit with this. This is my coffin handle Hornbeam Bowie, then I'm going to yard it this way some. See it plowing right through those little limbs, but usually one whack if they're an inch or so. Not that big a deal. Here. 1, 2. This small diameter pine isn't that big of a deal for the knife. Alright, let's yard it this way. This is the part I hate because I get my hands all pitched. And I'm going to try to keep that elevated so I don't have to kneel in a horse crap. Not that that's going to hurt me any, but won't be my first time. Trim those stubs a little bit so I don't have to come up with them. Okay. I'm going to cut it once right here. Just for the heck of it. Actually, I'm going to back off so I'm a bit more consistent with thickness, knife to knife. One. This is my coffin hornbeam. I'm going to get my other hornbeam. I call them by their knife handles, or what the handle is made out of. This is my regular hornbeam, whatever you want to call it. Gotta cut it again. Two. The sad part is some of you don't know where that's from, do you? Honey locust Bowie. This is the one with the flat grind and the convex edge. This won't chop quite as well, but it'll do okay. And notice I'm not really hurrying. Pitch on my hand, I hate that. Not really hurrying, just kind of getting through it. There's a honey locust Bowie. And honey locust Bowie is going to have to do some limit. Straight shot on it. Works pretty well. Of course, I'm going to have to go clean all the pitch off these blades tonight. Now I'm going to use, for basically control, a cold steel Trailmaster, one of the China dolls. Back up there. There is no escaping. Okay, just for comparison, the short leather handled knife that I was showing you in a couple of videos. This is one I made. I made it in the past at some point. This one will take me longer. Notice how we've kind of gone in. I haven't timed it. Like I said, I don't really work that hard at it. I just kind of get it done. Being downhill doesn't help me a whole lot. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 knives. Pretty easy because it's, you know, it's not a huge diameter log. Knives chop pretty good, but don't be overly impressed. This is a soft pine log. It's green. If I really wanted something that posed a real challenge, well, back there's a nice, pretty well seasoned maple log that died in the pasture, kind of like these, because the horses go up and scratch on it, knock the bark off, and the tree dies. It's been seasoning for a year and a half, 2 years on the stump, so it's a lot harder wood. Now, more of a challenge still would be one of the beeches that we have running around, because they've got a lot of spiral grain. But before we get on to more cutting and chopping and stuff, let's talk a little bit about cutting and chopping with knives and stuff like that. Am I a fan of chopping and heavy use of knives? Well, yeah, obviously I am. And you guys have seen pretty much, for the most part, how I like knives constructed and what I expect. This is child's play. This is nothing, because this is a really soft wood. Any knife can cut it. Any knife. And I really didn't have to work that hard at all. Now, does that mean in every cut you make or every log you chop is going to be this easy? No, of course not. It seems to be almost a part-time occupation in certain circles. People buy knives and then take them out and destroy them by batoning or chopping and doing unreasonable things. Now, should a knife survive, a good Bowie knife survive some harsh use? Yeah, oh yeah, it should. This I don't really consider harsh use. This is just kind of like yawn use. This is no big deal. We have quite a lot of land here. We clear it on a regular basis. I don't always lug that chainsaw with me, but I always have a Bowie knife, and when I come up on a tree, I cut it. After a storm, we have limbs at least this size all over the place. I cut cut them in half, throw them over the bank or out of the way or wherever they need to be. I don't always dig out my chainsaw unless there's a lot of work to do. Now, there's also with cutting and or chopping and batoning, the whole the philosophy that I believe Not and Fancy put it out, and I'm not saying I disagree with it, in a video called Why Big Knives Don't Suck. I really liked that video because he had a lot of good things to say about, I think it's something along the lines of, in the contest between wood and steel, steel should always win. I agree with that to a point, but I grew up on a farm and I saw wood defeat steel on a fairly regular basis in different ways. Because if you're chasing after stuff 4, 5, 6 inches in diameter, yeah, you'll do all right with a big knife. You start getting into 10, 12, 14, 16-inch logs, that is beyond the capability of most knives. If I take this knife and I put it in a 10-inch log, or damn near 10-inch log, right up to here and try to baton it, let's say it's a really tough grain, like it's a spiral yellow birch or something like that. So I've got this secured in the log to here, and I'm pounding on this, hoping that the force generated here, downward here, will force this section of the blade down through a really tough log. That doesn't make sense. Or I can start banging on the handle, hoping for the same thing. No. There are ways to split logs with knives. You use wedges. You cut yourself a wedge, you start the cut with a knife, and then you continue it with the wooden wedges. The point being is, you can do things in the field with knives, but use your head. Sure, this knife should take some abuse, and it will, but use it intelligently. Don't abuse the only tool you have in a survival situation by doing things that you might have seen on TV. If you haven't done it before and it's not really necessary, I wouldn't try it. Try it as an experiment in a real situation. That saying, a lot of the chopping and batoning that you see is basically recreational. It's around the fire or at somebody's house and they're trying out their knife. Well, that's the way it should be done. But I don't expect to baton a 16-inch oak log with this knife. I don't really baton that often, honestly. It has some utility, but at the same time, I'm not huge on it. If I need to baton every single piece of firewood, well, I probably don't have much of a fire. Sure, you can baton some when the woods are wet and stuff like that to get the fire started, and then you can put, dry stuff this size on it, and she'll burn. If you need to cut it in half, break it over a break it over a rock, put it between two trees and break it. Put it over the fire and let the fire do the work. Don't make this any harder on yourself than you have to. Survival is all about saving your energy. If you want to go out and cut every piece of firewood with your knife, go for it. It's your choice. Spend your time in the woods your way. But don't get too, cocky with, having a rugged knife and thinking it can do everything. It can't. As far as, it can do many things, but it's not a chainsaw. It's not an axe. But it's a damn good tool. I can't carry an axe inside my waistband and conceal it on the way to town. I just did this. Same thing with my chainsaw. Now, let's go after something else. I think I'm going to stop this, drag the camera back there, we're going to attack another pine, and then we'll go into a beech and you can see the difference. Or maybe we'll come back here and attack this maple. Maybe we'll do both. I don't know. I've got a pretty good plan on this, but I only have limited camera time. So, let's see what we've got. Take my bag, knives, back up the hill. Alright, hang on everybody. We're going to take a little trip. I apologize for this, I just don't know how to pause and create a same video. I'm going to give you a good look around the place. This is the Western Maine Defensive Tactics Tactical Pasture. Of course, actually, it's not the actual tactical pasture. If it was the tactical pasture, all the trees would be black, of course, right? See if you can get this in. I'm not going to have time to cut with all these knives. I'm going to have to do this in 2 takes. This log you see in front of you is about 8 inches. It's maple. It's pretty well seasoned. I dropped it with the chainsaw, though. It was a couple days ago I dropped one a little bit bigger than this over there with this knife. You'll notice that this one is not going to cut as well. 1, because it's a lot bigger. 2, because it's hardwood. 3, because it's seasoned. And 4, because I'm sitting downhill. But let's give it a go. See how that's not biting in quite as well as it did on that? Woo! That's well seasoned. You're thinking my knife is dull. It ain't. That wood's pretty tough. Some of you are asking, why don't you turn that log? I left the fork on the end so it won't turn. So it wouldn't roll down the hill on me. And this is taking a while. Yeah, it is. Why don't you use the axe? Because I'm using my Bowie knife. A little bit here. Excuse me while I turn my back. lied. I am going to go turn that. Be right back. Go. Should have just done it from here to begin with. Break it off now, but that's cheating and we don't do that. It may look like I'm just chopping into the same notch. What I'm doing is chopping a little bit on this side, a little bit on that side, a little bit on this side, a little bit on that side. And I gotta clean that out once in a while. Yeah, so no, oh, I just getting recalcitrant. Close. Seemed like it took half that long last time, but there you go. Well seasoned. Give you a comparison. Oh God, the log is killing me. That's going to be 8.5 inches or so. Well seasoned. You know, good and dry. Not ant-ridden maple. It's a pretty good solid wood. But now, poof, you got the tree down. You can cut it another time or two. Drag it to camp. Burn her up. Don't throw your knife. Well, that shouldn't hurt it, as long as you don't wind it into stuff. So, there you go. I don't think I have enough tape length to go through the rest of the knives at this point. I don't. I've got about 6 minutes. So did that take me a while? Yeah, it did. I don't rush with chopping. You rush, you get tired, your hands get fatigued. You make mistakes. You hurt yourself. You hurt your knife. So, this will be the beginning of the chopping video. I'll post this, see what you guys think, because honestly I do this quite often. I like to chop with knives, especially the bigger stuff. Now, have I chased after bigger stuff with Bowie knives? Yeah, oh yeah. I've cut 12 and 14 inch pine logs that fell across our old tote road. I could have taken my chainsaw down to it, but I wanted to test the handle designs on some of my knives. And heavy chopping like this will really tell you if your handle is good or not. if you're going to have any hot spots or problem with blisters, things like that. It might have seen that that knife wasn't very sharp. If I can find some hair, I'll shave it for you. Right there. After all that, you know. See, look, that's way resilient wood, and you can tell by the way that's knocking that that's nice and well seasoned. It'll be good firewood. Now, I wouldn't cut the firewood for my house like this. That's why I have that chainsaw. But out in the woods, some places, all your smaller wood, like this, it's pretty well gone. And most of the time, I don't cut wood. I break it. I'll break it from trees and break it on rocks and stuff. This big is fine. If you're down to wood like this, you can still cut it with a Bowie knife. It's just more work. Like I said, I don't do it often. If I was going to do it real regular, I'd have a chainsaw. But I can't carry a chainsaw inside my waistband. I can certainly carry one of these. So, again, not the ultimate chopping bit. I'm sure there's other knives out there that are specific choppers that can out-chop one of these knives any day of the week. But on stuff, you know, 6 or 7 inches below, especially if it's green, it's going to tear it up. It'll do fine. In fact, these knives do most things so well. The specialized chopper wouldn't be as interesting to me to carry. It wouldn't be as useful because, you know, these do my back cuts, these do my snap cuts. These are really handy to have on me for the whittling and the fine work and stuff like that. So that's one of them. I'll do the rest of them next time I get out here and start hacking some stuff down. What I might do is find like a 6-inch popple or something like that and fell it and buck it up with a couple of different knives, just to give you a kind of a comparison. And I've got actually a hatchet I'm going to haft up and give that a try too, just so you can see the different capabilities of the different knives. One thing I want to point out is look at how the Trailmaster did. Trailmaster did pretty well. I didn't cut this with it because that would have taken me a little bit more time on it. I've only got 29 minutes on this little camera right now until I get a better one. But, well, as promised, there's a little bit of Bowie knife chopping. There'll be more to come. I was going to do some batoning, but you know what? It took me a little bit while longer, and I don't have forever on this camera. So, I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I like chopping with knives. So, here we go. The coffin handle Hornbeam Bowie says goodbye to you.